Hello, I'm Elizabeth Sable with Action Builders. We're a design build firm in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and we specialize in additions and large interior renovations. And today we're really going to focus on that pre-construction selection stage of the process. So we have 3 stages to our design build process. The first is the design phase, and that's when we're putting the project on paper, finalizing the floor plan and the scope of work for the construction. Once we have a signed construction contract, that's when the pre-construction/selection phase really begins. That phase typically lasts 2 to 4 months, and we really use that time to get the details of your project figured out. So we want to know all of your finish selections, all of your tile, your carpet, your cabinets, your roofing, your siding. We're going to work with you to make all of those finish selections so that when we start construction, it's a much more organized project moving into construction. Homeowners that wait until construction to make decisions, such as what tile they want, what grout color, that adds to the stress of construction. So we at Action Builders really emphasize making those decisions at that pre-construction phase, because then you have less stress. Things come up during construction, surprises happen, decisions need to be made. And so you have that mental energy to focus on those decisions if you've already picked your tile, if you've already picked your cabinet color. You're not stressed about that light fixture that we're bugging you about. We have 2 interior designers that work with Action Builders, and they work with you from that construction contract all the way through the completion of construction. In that pre-construction phase, they will help you, depending on the project, if there's a kitchen, a bathroom, any finishes that are involved in that, they will work with you through that. We also typically have allowances in our construction contract. So an allowance is a budget number in the contract for something that still needs to be decided on. So for example, we might have $10,000 in for countertops. And so if you have $10,000 worth of an allowance and your total cost ends up being $11,000, you owe us $1,000. Or if you end up at $9,000, we owe you $1,000. So the goal would be, since that is a variable cost, you want to work and finalize those allowances and those decisions for the allowances before you start construction. So then you know where your allowance cost is, since that's a variable. You want to be comfortable where that is before you start construction. Projects that are organized moving into construction move so much easier in the construction phase. And so working with the designer during that pre-construction, making all of your decisions, it makes for a much more organized project moving into construction.